I kind of wish I knew Spanish. To be
Un
honest.
poco.
Yeah, I don't even really have that that much. So
Little. It was a
you know,
little.
my thing is like I always do a joke with people. Like they'll come in and I'll go, oh, hello, hola, cómo estás? And they'll say whatever in Spanish back, and then I go, oh, no hable español.
We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
Yeah. Clink.
God, take a drink before the clink.
What'd you say?
You take a drink before the clink? How rude.
I was thirsty. No, sorry, guy. Get mad at me. All right, let's talk nature, guy. Let's talk it up.
Yeah, I guess I'm still irking about that. You didn't clink.
I did clink, but I clanked, and and you clanked.
It's good. No. It's another exciting week here on the Wandering Ways podcast. It's the week after Thanksgiving, so I'm sure bellies are full, and hopefully, like Patagonia, you guys got out on Friday and not in the stores.
Right, exactly. Get out. People are starting their Black Friday sales now anyway. And to be fair, like what I've come to realize is like springtime, like early spring is one of the best times of year to buy stuff, anything, because no one's buying anything because they just spent all the money for the holidays. So like you get some better quality stuff because like the Black Friday deals, yeah, they're good, but it's the cheap TVs. It's the cheaper stuff that you're
I mean, it's just associated with the holiday.
Oh, I know.
That's why they gotta have the sales. But yeah, you can find oftentimes better deals some other time of the year.
You're not wrong because I was thinking because we just talked about getting our gear, a couple weeks ago, getting the gear review and seeing what we like, and people I know are wanting that. But I figured that out. Sometimes it's all Christmas shop in July. I see a gift for Mark. It's February. I'll put it in a closet till Christmas.
I buy and give Christmas presents regardless the time of year, and I say like it could be like May, and I'll be like Merry Christmas, and they'll be like it's late, and I say, or is it early? So that's I think it's just a me thing because I do it with birthdays too. I don't give it to you on the birthday. I give it to you like some random day
when I see you.
Oftentimes.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. But I don't know, like I'm going hunting this weekend. I think, I don't know yet. I may have pissed Jared off. Who knows? We never know because you do that sometimes with a guy.
What would you be hunting for?
Oh, deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just some good old deer. Nothing too special. No elk like Matt Buddy. Matt Buddy actually went out with Bobby and they got an elk.
I saw that.
Good for them.
But, yeah, he was wanting to come on and talk about it, but
yeah,
I was going to let the Wanderer decide that one. So if you're listening today, hit us up and tell us if you want Matt on for that one. Otherwise, we're not going to bring him on.
Yeah, and email us at wanderingwayspodcast@gmail.com. WANDERWAYSPODCAST@gmail.com.
Yes, please let us know. Otherwise, we're just going to let it be. Let the story sit and marinate.
No, exactly. I it's all right. Like he's getting back into hunting. It's his first year back. They got something good for him. Good for them. Meat's good. The elk meat's good. It's healthy for you. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what Matt, because he wants to be a big hunter now. So how that comes out to be. But we'll keep you guys informed.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, I hope he does become a master hunter.
I like it now because we've been on the air for about a year now, and so people are starting to understand our friends and who we hang out with and the people we talk about, because we start to talk about them throughout these episodes. And Matt Buddy, as you guys have probably known, is a character. We said many times he could have his own podcast just doing his own thing because that's who he is. He's so unique in that sense. But it's fun to have that growth with you guys, and you guys can keep in. So I'm serious. We'll next year we'll see where Matt's at with hunting. So keep tabs, guys.
For sure. Yeah, keep tabs on the Matt saga. It will evolve like every saga. Yeah. But anyways, going into the meat of today. Today we're gonna do this a little bit Marvel style. Marvel's got that show called What If. I've actually never seen it, but I know it's called What If. But we're gonna do kind of a what if we went to Northeast United States. I have done the New England trip plan, but if I look at my plan, there's not much New England in it. So it's really right. What this is, essentially what it is we're going to tell, we want to go to the Northeast, and we have 2 trips different planned out on like how we would kind of want to do it.
Yeah, no, well, I like this because I think what's bringing us up there is the great national park of Acadia National Park, because we've heard nothing but great things from everybody. It's just a 4.5-hour drive, 280 miles away from Boston to get up there. So a lot of people on the East Coast, even New York, Philadelphia, people find their way up there. It's one of those parks, but it's up in Maine. Maine's kind of quiet. I feel when I see, pop culture and things from Maine, other than the coast, which is very lobstery from my understanding, the inland kind of, I guess, reminds the wooded area is kind of like a Montana wooded area.
Oh, interesting.
Is kind of what I've gotten from my feel. Like, you have like the Maine State Troopers shows and those type of shows.
Oh yeah, you see like the shows and stuff.
Especially because of the small towns.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting. I find it as cool. I feel like I would like it over there. And the fall peeping with the leaves.
Yeah, it would be super cool to go in the fall, because I mean that's all you hear about is those Northeast falls, the trees and all that. So I think that would be the fun time of year to go. I'll be real. I'll take any time of year other than maybe winter. I think they get a little too much snow for me to really enjoy like this trip that I have planned out anyway. Maybe go and see the snow in a different kind of way, but not in what I have for ideas of what I would want to do on this trip. But another perk about this area is it's close to Canada.
Yeah. So I do like that because Canada, especially Northeast Canada and New Brunswick, there's that hotel. I tell you, we need to go stay there one night just to say we did it. Is the Fogo Island Inn, and it's out there, and you're on they built this thing to make it feel like you were one of those rocks out there on the coast.
Yeah, that would be pretty legit to go stay at that one. Anyways, I guess we just jump into how one of us wants to plan this. I don't know. You want me to go first, or you to go first on this one?
Let's take your route, and then we can jump into kind of mine and some ideas, because I think if we were to actually do this trip, talking to you more and more about it, the Canadian version is going to be probably what Wandering Ways would do.
Yeah.
And my version is what, if I had like a Thea or a Matt or like a Tyler or my family with me kind of trip, possibly. There's some long driving because I want to include Niagara Falls and Boston into mine. And there's some things in each one of those that I want to do, and it's how they align.
I feel you. I feel you. No, so the way I have it planned out is, yeah, there's no Boston involved in mine. There is a Niagara Falls though.
Oh
Niagara
shoot.
Falls is in the how I would do this. I can't remember the days I had mapped out, but Boston's not in it. I would instead fly into Portland, Maine,
Okay.
because it's closer to Acadia National Park, because I want to get into Acadia National Park. And I have down on that, would like to camp in the park if hopeful. I think any park really you'd like to camp in it. But there
Mhm.
were some other ones. I don't know if these are actually, they could have been in the park too, but other campsites like the Blackwoods, Bar Harbor, and Sea Wall, they're all kind of in that area of Acadia of Maine, all that. So that's kind of what, and then I'd like to hike. This part of the trip is the nature-esque. The latter part isn't as much nature, it's more of the other side of traveling, which is just going into cities and seeing what's happening. But got to get my nature fixed, so I want hikes, hikes, hikes. I
Well,
have
and
some written down, but if I'm being real, the only real difference is one's on the coast, the water, the other one gets you up high to see everything. So that's
well,
what I want for hikes.
and to be honest, this place does it's not that big. It's small because you're out on like these islands. It's kind of like a collection of islands. And I personally, I would love to almost dedicate a whole trip to this
Yeah, you could easily could.
because of the hiking you can do there. And I would like to do like, hey, yeah, we're going to do one or two backcountry hikes while we're here and also do the touristy stuff that like the visitor center stuff because that I don't know, I enjoy both aspects of the park because the histories behind the parks too are kind of like you go to Yellowstone and it's fun to walk into that old lodge that in Old Faithful there that millions of people every year walk into and it's been there since like the early 1900s, even late 1800s. I'm not sure exactly when it was built, but that kind of awe and essence that you get from those places, Lake McDonald Lodge, East Glacier Lodge, like all these national parks have those kind of cool things. And then you get into like the explorer side of it. And that's like Hawaii. And that's we didn't necessarily do it on Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And I think that's kind of what a little upsetting to me, why I feel like we left something out is we didn't do that backcountry hike that they had to offer because we weren't thinking in that sense. But our backcountry hike that trip essentially was the Mount Olympus hike. So I get that. But if we're doing kind of like, hey, we get one time a year to do this, New England's our chance. Yeah, I'm like you do one big hike in the park and
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. And that's what I was thinking, is this was like one of those, let's try and do and see as much as we can. So, I made sacrifices. I did want to go to like Boston, maybe even New York. But travel wise, that was just asinine. I wanted to keep drives as short as possible. So that way we can spend more time out of the car than in the car. Um, so that's why. But you're right, you could, I think, could and honestly should do Acadia National Park in one longer bout, to where you can explore, because it does look like it has some pretty sweet things. Looking at it, I mean, it's classic coast park. I
It
think it'd be like well, an East Coast version of Olympic, to be
And
honest.
now I was just going to say that because I'm looking here. I got my secrets of the national parks, right? And I'm looking at this one in particular. It's like you have the rocky coast,
Yep.
you have the like trees, so like the forests. Um, you also have like the beachy towns. But what I think the East Coast beach, especially up there, there's more lighthouses in that sense. Like Oregon and stuff has that and Washington has that, but not to the same extent. And I think that's because of the technologies when shipping was brought out west.
Probably.
But I think you have that, and like even looking in here, they have these ponds and Echo Lake, and then the Sound, and just that those like fingers that this ocean is creating in this park, and then the lakes and that aspect of it. So you get those mountain views too, because they talk about
Oh, I know the two of the hikes I have written are ones that have like get you to heights. And I remember reading them going like some of them are real panoramic views where you get like the ocean and then lakes and then like some of the tree hills. And I was like, that's exactly what I want is to get up high and see everything.
exactly. And right here, right, the two book, right, Parkman Mountain. Though no carriage road goes all the way to the summit, while you're in this area, consider a hike to the top of the 941-foot Parkman Mountain. Even if it's not one of the park's most famous summits, this peak's rocky top provides westward views over glacier-carved Somes Sound. And then they talk about the Blue Hill Overlook, the Cadillac Mountain, which is 1,500 feet.
That's the one I have written down as well.
That's the one. They say until Rio de Janeiro, there's a spot up there called Rio de Janeiro.
Well, I got on here the South Ridge of Cadillac. So I'm pretty sure that's one that's got all the views, which is.
It looks like you're supposed to do sunrise there, is what this is.
That would be legit.
So.
That would be legit. A sunrise. Well, it's on. Have I ever told you like it's a bucket list item for me to see the sun rise over the ocean and set in the ocean in the same day?
Where would you do that at?
Well, in theory, you can do it pretty much anywhere. In theory, right? But easiest way to do it is like northern South America or southern Central America, right where the continent's pretty connected.
Oh, Panama.
Yeah, Panama. That area would be ideal where to do it. But in reality, like if you wake up and saw the sun rise in the east, say New York, you could take a flight all the way to San Francisco in that day and see it set.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
good.
It's theoretically possible in a lot of different areas, but if you're looking for, I can see the sunrise and bike to the other side of the country and see it set in the same day, which would be really cool, but you don't need that.
All right. The more you know about the Reverend, folks.
That, and I do want to see the green flash.
Right.
Some people say it's not real, and
it's probably not. It's a hoax.
I don't know if I can take it not being real, to be fair. I've believed in it so long and looked for it that like I think not, if it was false, it hurt me a little bit.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
See, but here's my thought is if I would do an Akita and I had the time from like a Boston, like I'm going into Boston, I'm checking out all the crazy, stuff going on. Like I said, it's only a 4.5 hour, 280-mile drive. So, because I want to see the Revolutionary War stuff, the beginnings of America, Plymouth Rock, like all that kind of stuff's there. There's those state parks, there's those historical sites, BLM land, all the different types of land that the government owns over there in parks, which are kind of cool. Probably some private stuff as well. So I'm a history buff in that sense. Because I think if you know your history, you won't repeat it. And if you can learn from it or understand it a little bit better, you can see kind of the issues and the corruptedness that has gone on forever and ever and ever. But that's just me.
Yeah, I had thoughts on that whole kind of topic the other day. I was just randomly thinking, and I don't really want to get into it today.
Not on this episode, yeah. But I do think Boston has some of that. I think.
I'm not saying that they don't have the history. They have the history. And it would be cool to see it. Don't get me wrong. I'd
Yeah.
like to see the harbor where they threw the tea and all that,
It's fun. It's stuff you learn about in school. There's a reason you learn about it. And I think that's the thing with history, right? And that's why I would even almost say Boston, you could do its own single trip because there would be enough to do there. Um, but for me to understand it and to live it, you got to understand like why are they wanting us to know that? Why did they say that's what we need to know? Because there's things that are left out on purpose all the time. Just look at how news is written.
Yeah. No, and the historical aspect of Boston is appealing. I'm not too into the history, so but going to
Mhm.
Boston would still be cool. You hear a ton of stories about Boston and
Yeah.
all of that. But going back like to Acadia, so I'm up in Acadia. After I'm done with Acadia, which is like 2-3 days, I'm actually getting out of the United States at this point, and I'm going to Canada, and I'm going to Montreal.
Yeah.
I would love to go and just experience Montreal. I'd probably just find some cheap Airbnb or hostel, and I would just try and go check out Montreal for what Montreal is. Because I think it'd be really cool to go up that, and then head over to Toronto after. Those two Canadian cities, I've heard tons of things about. Vince was in Montreal, him and Phil were, and they said great things about Montreal. So, and
Yeah.
then, I mean, anytime you get to visit the place where Drake is from, is kind of cool, right?
Right. Well, and you hear good things. I know Kaz, he went over to Toronto and he told me, I mean, he loved it. Again, I think both those towns, both those cities are places you could spend a whole trip in. Because I almost too, if Wandering Ways, I'm thinking Wandering Ways going over east northeast over there. We might even want to go upward towards the parks out in the New Brunswick area and even the northern Quebec area, those Canadian parks up there.
Oh,
Uh,
100%. I thought about that. And part of the reason, I think the main reason I didn't is because I wanted to try and get some of the northern United States as well. Like I have Niagara Falls. And so I think I had Niagara Falls in my head of like
you're
stuff to
coming
go
back to
see.
that.
Yeah. So I was kind of running back down. I'm leaving out of Buffalo, New York. So it's like
No,
Niagara Falls is like the last thing on the trip that I have. So I have the majority being Acadia and then Montreal, Toronto kind of being um, a little bit here and there, but then it's Niagara Falls and out of there.
yeah, I originally had Boston as like the go-to city to start. But I would, because I have Niagara Falls on there. I was kind of just making like a home base, kind of go out, as well as go here, maybe stay here for 3 days, come back, go there. But I think with Niagara Falls, because I have it in mind as well, maybe that Buffalo would be your starting point,
Oh, could be,
and
yeah.
then work over to a Boston and then up to an Acadia, um, and kind of do that. But I'm interested because I know Niagara Falls has a lot to offer, but personally, I feel like it would only have a day or two max.
Yeah, and to be fair, I hope it does, but I didn't even really give it that. I gave it like half a day. Something where if you have an evening flight, you do it that morning.
No, but that wouldn't be a bad idea either, because if you're doing that, say, I mean, you could even do backwards, like you said, go Portland, Maine, Acadia, Boston over, uh, knowing what you're doing. But
Yeah.
it's interesting. The East Coast is interesting because mile wise, it's close, but there's a lot more people, so it's not as you're not going 80, 90 miles an hour out on those interstates like you are out here in the West. Um, so that's something too that you have to consider when you're going to these areas, and dedicating the time to. I do like your loop. I understand your loop. You're kind of also hanging around the Great Lakes, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in that area. I didn't necessarily like plan for anything other than like Acadia and then some Canadian towns. Just because I want to go back to Canada. I loved it up there, and what better way to do it than head to the Northeast? And they speak a little French, so I speak a little French. Maybe I can get a little extra mileage out of it.
No, that's good, and it's great for you for knowing another language. I think that's awesome. It helps with traveling. People don't realize that when you can talk to someone in their native tongue,
Oh,
and understand them and give them that respect, because they're I see it especially here in Billings. We have a very conservative population, and they almost look down upon sometimes, like people speaking Spanish or people who struggle speaking English. But it's not a disability. It's just hard. It's trying to learn a language. You don't know Spanish, they would laugh at you, the same way you're laughing at them for trying to do English. So it's like, come on, guys, cut everyone a break. Plus the understandings and the ideologies like behind it. But
yeah, for sure. I kind of wish I knew Spanish. To be
un
honest.
poco.
Yeah, I don't even really have that much. So
It was a little.
my thing is like I always do a joke with people. Like they'll come in and I'll go, oh, hello, hola, cómo estás? And they'll say whatever in Spanish back, and then I go, oh, no hable español. So that's my like joke I'll do with people, because it's kind of funny, but that's the extent of my Spanish.
Oh yeah. No, I think it's good. It's good to know. It's good to have that. I mean, it's nice with technology that we're trying to communicate that way back and forth as well, like with the translate and understanding things. Which I like. I mean, that makes international travel a lot better, and easier for us to do when you have that kind of stuff. But also, I like to think people are good, and there's a lot of good people everywhere in this world. And you go to these towns and cities. There's a reason there's towns and cities. That's commerce and trade and people interacting with one another. So I know there's fears in
Oh
travel.
yeah, people are so nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some knuckleheads out there, some
Everywhere.
bozos, but in general, people are pretty nice.
Exactly. And I think that's a fear. Even to go to Canada or Mexico, there's that
Yeah.
fear. And it's like, bruh, they have the same struggles. They
Yeah.
want love, they want happiness.
Approach it that way, and you'll get real far. Just we're all trying to get through this thing we call life. No,
Everyone.
learning another language is some cool shit.
You know what that means? Time for another commercial break where we get to tell you to like, subscribe, and review our podcast. Whether you're getting that podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, WhatsApp, whatever podcast app you use, you can make it happen.
And don't forget, this is also the time to let you guys know that you can pick up that Wandering Ways swag at the Teespring. Make sure to check it out. The link is in the bio down below or in the episode description. It's even in the show description too, if you can't find it in the episode. But you can go on there. You can get your sweatshirts. You can get your shirts. You can get long sleeves, short sleeves. You can even get some socks. It looks pretty cool. Highly recommend. You will be impressing everybody at your next bonfire with some Wandering Ways swag.
And if that's not enough, we're going to tell you to follow us individually on our social medias. You could check me out at the Rugru or Zach of Wandering Ways. Check out the adventure firsthand where there might not be any ads.
Exactly. And who doesn't like some good free pub? I need the followers to go up. So I'm going to throw out Reverend Marcus. Check me out on the Twitter, on the Instagram. I do some cool stuff. So please give me the follow. All right.
We also do not cool stuff.
Yeah. But anyways, let's keep wandering on. Which means it's time for more cool shit, as in cool shit in nature.
Look at that. He wandered back
I know. I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting on a come out like that. But no, this week I got two this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited because they're both pretty good. So this first one I kind of thought was funny. So essentially what we're looking at right here are they reintroduced some otters to Singapore, I believe. And now we're having like classic West Side Story situation with some otters, as we got two like rival packs. I don't know what they call.
Yeah,
rival
they're
packs.
because they're probably like dogs. Yeah, packs fighting each other.
Yeah.
Damn.
So we got good old fashioned like gang war here.
Well, look at it. Like, look at the ones that go up on land and kind of like, oh yeah, I'm like fighting, but I'm like not fighting, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The like, they probably talk a big game.
Oh, right. Yeah, those are the ones that talk the mad game but don't do anything.
And then you have the ones that are like actually just in it, like going head to head.
Yeah, I mean, there is a decent size little like fight going, like
Yeah.
Royal Rumble status here.
It's territory. It must be, huh?
Yeah, it's got to be over territory.
Wow, that's
But
cool.
no, it's a super cool one because I mean, you know, they're like people in a way.
Yeah.
This one is also a super cool one. I watched this a few times because it's nuts.
Oh,
Yeah, so for anybody watching, what
he's
just
done.
happened is we're just watching a mallard duck, and it's just chilling there, and then a peregrine falcon just comes in, whaps it at I think it says 100 kilometers per hour.
Wow. And he like knocks this thing out. Just not duck is
Yeah.
done. Like almost broke. It looks like broken neck or broken, like just lights out.
Oh, it's
then-
nuts. I mean, it hits it going so fast, and then they give a slow-mo of it, slow as they can get, because I mean it still moves pretty dang quick in the slow-mo they have.
Yeah, and I like that it lands. The falcon lands right there and just like stares him down. Like, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Dinner is served.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, it was so nuts to see that falcon just come in and like instant blink of an eye.
That's cool shit in nature for you.
Yeah. That is 100%. That's why we call it cool shit in nature.
Yeah. Exactly.
Were we talking to someone about like how there's all that cool shit in nature the other day?
We talking to someone? Last time I saw you, we were in Hawaii together. So
I know, but I feel like we were also, I don't know. I remember us talking about cool shit in nature.
was it with one of our guests?
No, it wasn't. I would have remembered that. I know it was off air. That's why I'm trying to remember it. But I could be very mistaken.
Dude, you were probably talking to one of your athletes that listens to the podcast, and we'd like to thank you for listening to the podcast.
I don't think any of them do. But
Really? I don't think any of our families do.
no, 100% that too. So
They like our moms like our stuff on Facebook. So thank you, Mom. But that's about it, guys. That's about what you give us. You give us the listens, and we do appreciate that. And we hope we're helping you out with these trips and traveling and stuff. But
yeah, 100%. We do appreciate it because we're getting to nowhere else. So anyways, going back to the trips now that we're done with some cool shit. That's really mine, the bulk of it. I think I planned for anywhere from like 7 to 14 days.
oh wait, but I guess shit, fuck, like damn, oh god, all the words in the book, throw them at you. Like I was thinking we were doing this thing in like a week.
I mean, that's 7 days, right?
Yeah, you're busting this out. I would want to give Acadia 4 days because I think you could get everything done in those 4 days and maybe have a day to yourself to go explore the other stuff in the area. Because I really liked when we were in the Hilo area that you and I decided to go to those waterfalls in the area and just kind of drive helo, go down to the farmers market, spend some time in the local area with the local culture, and just kind of get into that for a second. And I think I would like to do that there, and I think that's why you give it 4 days, because I think in Acadia it looks like there's a lot to do, but the size of it to me is kind of, you know, you might do a lot of it and be like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I do get what you mean. And it would be nice to hang out in that area. Like, don't get me wrong there, but the issue is I want to see so much and you can only do, so you start making sacrifices
yeah,
where you're like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do as much in this place, but it's going to maybe add a night or a day and a half to this place. And I think I can get equally good experiences out of.
yeah.
And then, you know, as always, there's the classic, you get back from the trip and you're like, man, we should have planned it this way. But, you know, I don't think you're ever going to get the equation right to where you have like mapped out the perfect amount of time in each place.
You might go through Phoenix.
Yeah, that happens too. So, yeah, when that happens, you just,
roll with it.
Yeah. It's the vacation or the trip, the adventure is all about doing it. Yeah. You're not going to know until you do it.
You don't tell the stories of the things you're going to do. You tell the stories of the things you did do.
Yeah, exactly. So don't worry about trying to plan the perfect one. I sure as hell didn't, because I want to see some Canada. But so you had Boston up to Acadia.
Yeah, and I think what I would change is I would go Portland, Maine, Acadia down to Boston. Boston, give it the like 3-4 days that it deserves. And then that, like you said, go over to Niagara Falls. But that would be the one I would cut, because that's about a 7-hour drive and you're going across the state of New York. Yeah. But I'm curious, that drive too, that like I like a good drive, not gonna lie.
I know you do.
It's I-90. It would be me completing I-90, which is the interstate I do back and forth between Oregon and Seattle all the time. But you would drive through the entire state of Massachusetts and the entire state of New York, and in the like not as populated areas. So I'd be interested to see. Like I don't know. I just give it a whirl. But that would probably be what I would cut, maybe, and just do Boston, Acadia. But because we've done our clusters with these 3 parks, and even the fact that you threw Niagara Falls in there, that is like fly out of Buffalo or fly into Buffalo maybe, and do it backwards, or however you like to do it. And you get half a day or a full day in there.
Yeah. Yeah, 7 hours. That's a long drive, man.
But along that way, we're not taking into fact the state parks, the historical sites that may come up, because like even like in like Vermont and New Hampshire, there's some historical parks and even some other stuff that you may stumble across and be like, oh, like I want to check this out, or oh, we'll drive from Boston and then camp here in this state park in New York, because like they have, you're going to be close to what's that mountain range that I'm thinking of in Adirondacks, so you're,
yeah, I mean, in that area. Yeah, you can make a 7-hour drive work.
We've done it before.
Yeah, I know we've done it before, and those are like my least favorite things. I hate the long drive.
But to be fair, out west, you're going to put in the hours regardless. You may get more miles done, where I feel like on the East Coast and even Oregon and Washington and California especially, you find yourself in these, like, there's a lot of people, a lot of traffic, and the speed limits are slower. So you might not go as far distance wise, but it's still the same amount of time in the car and driving. Which, I mean, that affects you differently, but like, I think, yeah, especially when you're driving like from Zion to Bryce, that's still a good 3-hour drive, and then you want to, you know what I mean? It's a long day in the car.
I know, and I enjoy those trips, but I always like to try and slow down.
I think that's why we got to do an Iceland, and rent a
Maybe that
van.
could be a new what if later in the future. What if we do Iceland? So
I like
hold
that.
on, stay tuned. Make sure you come back.
If you
Listen
like
to
these,
the Iceland what if.
well, if you guys like these what ifs, I think that's good to know. It's good feedback for us to do. Um, yeah, fuck, you might want to spend more time in Maine even. And there's a bunch of parks up there. That there's national parks or national historical sites, not national monument stuff. If you like getting your passport stamped, like
Oh, I saw a picture of one of those passports. And the thing was, I swear to God, like, I don't know, a good 4 inches thick.
oh yeah,
It was crazy.
they're cool, they're fun. I think they help drive that adventure. They drive that quest for it. I like it. I have fun. I have my little one because it's fun to
Well, they're fun to do. I mean, that's why you see places like Bend, Oregon have a passport for the breweries. I think it was Alexander telling us they have one for the whiskeys.
the Bourbon Trail. Yep.
Yeah. And then what was it, Cameron, too, about the state parks in South Carolina?
I think that's it.
So
That is,
they're appealing and they're fun to do.
especially if you like doing them.
Yeah.
No, I like the parks. I want to go to all of them. I think that's my goal. One of my goals, and that's this podcast will document that. And I don't know. I'm excited. I think, talking to Yolo, he wants to go out to Africa, and he's like, you got to come with me one of these times. And I want to get out there. I want to get out to some of those places and bring you he's going to take us to some of the stuff that he knows because he's a local.
100%. It'll be pretty sweet if we could go to Africa. That could be another good what if. But yeah, wrapping up kind of where it's going. If I were to do the Acadia National Park trip, I would definitely, again, fly into Portland, Maine. My goal is to limit that car time. So I'm Portland, Maine, into the park, staying in or around the park for 1, 2, maybe 3 nights. I want a bigger hike and smaller hike type deal. That's how I'll usually do it, unless I'm in really good shape and everyone with me is in really good shape. Then maybe we just bust out some mileage. But heights or even along the coast when looking for those hikes. And then I'm switching gears in my trip, and I'm going more for kind of, I guess, a classic tourist city experience. I want to get in, meet the people of Canada, Montreal, Toronto specifically, get to see these people do what they do, enjoy the food, try and live like them, or not live like them, but at least experience it, get the real taste for the city. And then I'm Niagara Falls and Buffalo, I'm out. There's a lot. It's kind of 2 different trips put into one. But that's kind of my thought to it. I think it'd be more fun to do 2 in 1.
Yeah, I like that. And I just pulled up a map on the computer real quick here of the Canadian national parks. And there's, if you do the Niagara Fall, there's the Thousand Islands, Gregorian Bay Islands. If you do the Montreal, the Toronto Way, right? You have those kind of parks. But if you go, I think if you do an Acadia and go just straight into the national parks, there's a lot out there in that. I want to say that's the New Brunswick area, like Fundy and Prince Edward Island and Forloin and Gros Montmagny. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all in that New Brunswick area, which I assume they would be very similar to Acadia National Park. And maybe,
I've heard good things. I mean, Vince and Phil went to Nova Scotia, and they said that was really cool. So, I mean, 100%. There's a lot you can do in that area. The question is, I guess you just got to find 2 things you really want to see, and then try and fit in the rest.
Right. And yeah, and that's I think that's the other thing too, is my trip is also based, if you're not going international, it's a good American version.
Yeah, 100%. But anyways, that wraps up the what if. So what if we went to Acadia, what would we do? I guess more northeast United States, southeast Canada. So that's kind of what we would, or at least I would do, plan it out. What Zach would do, plan it out. But yeah, anyways, we're gonna go into the final words today. Final words, my guy.
What I like about planning stuff out this far in advance sometimes, like we don't really have a date or a goal of when we'd want to do an Acadia National Park or an Iceland or some of these places we want to go. But that's okay. I think talking about them and bringing them up and talking about the things you'd like to do in these places and the places you'd like to see and go is good, because it is that first couple steps in planning these trips. Because it's like, wow, I want to go to Yellowstone. I want to see a bison, right? So you see that. And then since you know that, then it's like, well, oh, flights to Billings are only $300 today. Oh, a rental car is only $100. I can go into the park and do this and do that. And you start planning and then you make it happen. And I think that's the thing, yeah, that we don't do. We get so trapped on money or just the things that the negative things, the excuse why not, right? I don't want to hear the excuse. I want to hear the solution. And the only way to the solution is to figure out what you want, right? If you want to be the best wood net making sustainable company you want to be, then focus on that and figure out how you want to do that, right? And put your efforts toward those things. So if I want to go to these trips and do these trips, figure out a goal and a plan. Don't just say it and don't practice what you preach. If you're not doing that, you're out of harmony and it's just not working, because it's like, yeah, you want to go to Yellowstone, but you're not doing the right things to prepare or plan for it. So there comes a lot with it, but it doesn't hurt talking about the places you want to go. It's how me and Mark, I think one of our biggest things, is like, I was telling you about Yellowstone and Glacier, and you're like, I want to go to those places. So I was like, well, yeah, come with me one of these times. And here we are 6 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it is 6 years. Holy shit. Anyways, Reverend's final words of wisdom today. Stay beautiful, everybody. Can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you. It's the holiday season. Go give somebody a hug. Tell them Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, all that fun stuff, because it's coming up. So make sure you tell them, and tell them Happy Thanksgiving, because that's the one that just got done. But again, just kind of piggybacking off Zach here, just go do it. Planning is fun. But again, it's just a plan. It's not the story. So go out, actually do it, whether it's big, small, spontaneous, or well thought out into the future. But go out, have yourself a time and an adventure. But anyways, that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.